Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. Tonight I've got some terrifying Dogman, Black Dog, or Hellhounds, whatever you want to call them, but alls I know is they are scary as hell. Before we get into these encounters, a couple links I'd like to share. As you all know, I'm a commercial-free channel, so I use my PayPal, Patreon, and merch link to help this channel grow and go. Also, I have a second channel just for creepypasta, fan fiction, and scary voice acting. That link is in the description as well. I just put out a brand new story tonight, so if that's anything that you guys are into, follow that link and give that story a listen. And now I've taken enough of your time, let's get on to these encounters. Shall we, guys? Our first encounter of the evening. Back in 2016, my father and I were at Boca Chica Beach in South Texas. For those who don't know, it's a very secluded beach with plenty of wildlife and rough terrain. Anyway, my father and I were looking for a good place to fish near the ship channel. We turned left at the jetties and hit a trail. As we followed the trail, I saw something black sitting on a hill. As we got closer, I noticed it looked like a big dog or wolf, similar to a German Shepherd, but this canine was all black and 5 times bigger than any dog, coyote, or wolf I've ever seen. Just to clarify, there are no wolves in South Texas, and coyotes don't get very big. This unknown canine sat calmly on the hill overlooking the bay towards South Padre Island. Then it got up and disappeared behind the hill. I have no idea what this creature was since it doesn't fit any animal identification. All I know is I saw a large, predatorish animal out there, and everyone take caution when traveling to Boca Chica, especially at night. Our second encounter of the evening. So, when I was young, I lived in Almido, Texas. A lot of stuff happened to me. One night, my brother-in-law asked me to go to a nearby store to get some nachos. It was around 10 p.m. or so. The store is not that far away walking, maybe 5 minutes. Where I lived, it was pitch dark because only a couple of homes could afford those light posts. Across the street from my house, there was a monte or forest, all along the dirt road until you hit the main road. Some creepy-looking trees and bushes. The store was the only one that had a light post. There was enough light from the houses to know which house was yours. Anyway, I went to pick up the nachos and started to head home. Once I got away from the store, I started hearing someone doing the psst sound. I stopped and turned around and I saw nothing. I started to walk again and I heard the sound again. I thought it might be my brother-in-law trying to scare me, so I cussed at him and told him to quit being dumb. I was a little scared, to be honest, because it was pitch dark and I kept hearing psst. I started to walk faster to get home, and that's when I started to hear a low growl and hoof-like steps following me. I wanted to run, but I felt as if I was going to fall in the dark if I did run. I walked a little faster, but the hoof-like steps kept following me at the same speed I was walking. I finally had the guts to turn around, and what I saw was horrible. It looked like a big black dog, but with hooves. It looked like its hair was coarse like a pig with big red glowing eyes. It was showing its teeth and fangs, just like a dog or a wolf does. Every step I took, it also took one, and I could hear the hooves stomp on the dirt road. It had a low growl, like it wanted to run and attack me. All I could do was walk backwards and keep my eyes on it so it wouldn't attack me. Just seeing the glowing red eyes gave me goosebumps. When I started getting close to my house, it disappeared like smoke. I ran inside, and I guess I was pale because my mom, brother-in-law, and sister asked me what happened. I told them, and my mom said, "Stop talking trash." She didn't want to believe me, or she was just too afraid. My brother-in-law went into their room and got his gun and went outside to see if he could see something. He said he didn't see anything, but he did hear a psst and some evil laughter that gave him goosebumps as well. We don't talk about it in front of my mom because she still gets afraid of it. Now, as an adult, I get goosebumps just remembering those red glowing eyes and the low growl that was about to attack me in my teenage years. I go every year to see my dad, which he still lives in that area, but he doesn't let me go out at night alone. It is still spooky in that area, but now there are more people living there and there are more light posts everywhere. That was one of the many incidences that I had encountered. Our third encounter of the evening. An uncle of mine told me this story several years ago. He claimed this happened in the late 70s in McAllen, Texas, near the location of where the current McAllen Medical Center hospital stands. Back then, the place was mostly fields with not many businesses around. My uncle was not the type of person to experiment with drugs or psychedelics, even in the 70s, which is why I believe him when he relayed this story to me. That, along with the genuine fear and concern in his voice when I heard him tell the story, is why I believe him. So, one late evening, he's walking along a cornfield while attempting to hitchhike back home to Donna, Texas, from a dance he had previously attended near Mission. He had already hiked several miles and wound up near the location of this incident. As he was walking along the field, he sees a huge black dog hovering above the cornfield, keeping pace with him. One thing that always sticks out for me was the way he describes the creature's eyes. 2 huge burning red eyes, the size of large grapefruits. Still hoping for a car to pick him up, he noticed the creature gazing at him and decides to walk faster. But unfortunately, so does the creature. At this point, he starts to a full-on sprint, and the thing continues to keep pace with him, all along floating creepily at least a foot above the cornfield. At this point, he is absolutely terrified and convinced this thing is going to try to harm him. Luckily for him, a car pulls over in the nick of time and offers him a ride home. After doing some research, he may have witnessed what some people have described as the Cajo, which, according to Wikipedia, is a supernatural character from Central America or Southern Mexican folklore. There is a good white Cajo and an evil black Cajo. In other cultures, they are known as the Hellhound or Black Shuck, and has often been recognized as the harbinger of death. Our fourth encounter of the evening. I was just out driving one night because I was bored and I wanted to get out. First, I want to say that I don't drink at all or do any kinds of drugs. Usually when I'm driving, I see many animals, deers, rabbits, raccoons, possum, skunk, and more. But this night, I didn't see any animals out. This was very unusual. I was about 2.5 miles outside of Cross Plains, Texas, when suddenly there was a large animal in the middle of the road eating a raccoon that had been hit by a car. I first saw a sparkle from the animal's eyes as the headlight shined upon the road. I always watch for shining eyes because I know many animals are out at night. I slowed down and stopped about 30 feet from the animal, which at first looked like a large dark gray dog eating on a dead animal. It was standing on all 4 feet and started off to the left side of the road, but only moved a few feet when it turned and went back to its meal. The dog then picked up the coon in its mouth and headed off the road to the right. As I watched the dog-like animal walking off the road, the animal then rose up on its hind legs and walked towards a fence along the road. When it got to the fence, the animal jumped over the fence while still carrying the raccoon. I know most animals and know that a full-size coon can weigh about 30 pounds or more. This animal walked on its hind legs and jumped over a fence that was about 5 feet high and didn't even touch it. The animal then crouched behind some weeds and small brush. I had gotten out of my car with a flashlight to see more because I didn't know what I was seeing. I don't know any animal like that, and I've lived in rural Texas all my life. When I shone the light on the animal, the reflection of the light in the animal's eyes were red. They didn't glow red like others describe their stories. It was like when you take a picture of someone and the red glow from the flash. I know most animals' eyes reflect kind of blue or white sparkle when the light is shown on them. Anyway, while I was shining the light on the animal, it started a very loud, deep growl and then a loud hissing noise. At this point, I got into my car. I wasn't staying any longer without a gun, and I didn't have a gun with me. So then I drove off. I watched the animal for a period of 8 to 10 minutes before I left. The animal had no tail, and it didn't have any spikes along its back. Our fifth and final encounter of the evening. I live in a small border town along the tip of South Texas. About a week ago, my brother told me he saw something that has been making him question his sanity ever since. He's the type of guy who will get up in the middle of the night and check outside the house to make everything's all right. Some of the neighbors have had some of their property stolen, so he likes to make sure all is good. According to him, it's around 3:15 when he hears a chorus of dogs barking loudly and aggressively down the alley behind our house. So he gets up, walks down the hall, and stares out the back door window while facing south. After gazing out of the window for about 5 minutes, he swears he saw what he can only describe as a combination of a humanoid-type figure with the head of a wolf darting down the alley in a flash. He describes the being as being able to see its ribs protruding through its skin. As it ran, he said it looked like it was bending over with its palms flat on the ground, kind of like the way someone bends to touch their toes if they're stretching. He added that it didn't really look too hairy, but appeared to have human skin, all while possessing a translucent white smoke color all around it. Even as it was hunched over, he said it was about 5 feet tall and 5 feet long. The following day, he told my parents about it, and they happened to mention it to one of the neighbors. Turns out, a few days before my brother's sighting, their boxer had been stolen from their backyard. Instead of thinking my parents and my brother were a bunch of kooks, the lady neighbor, whom found out was from Native American background and whose Native American mother had given the dog as a gift, told my parents it was probably what Native Americans refer to as a skinwalker, and that it was probably looking for her stolen dog. She also mentioned that whomever stole the dog was probably cursed by now. I know this story sounds bizarre, but unfortunately, I don't have any pictures or any other type of evidence to present with you guys. Wow, there you have it, guys. 5 incredibly terrifying tales of Dogman, Hellhound, Skinwalker, black dogs, whatever you want to call them. All I know is they're scary as all can be. If any of you guys have any encounters you would like to share with me, my email is in the description as well. I would love to hear from you guys and possibly share them on this channel. Also, I'd like to thank every one of you guys for just being here and being part of this family. Thanks, guys, because without you, I would just be a lonely guy sitting in front of a microphone recording stories. But now, I have 2,000 and some odd subscribers listening. So thank you, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.